Hey everyone. Hi Leo. Okay, so you're last. So that means you have something to learn from Pisces. This month, at very least. Anyone new to Opal Oracle, I always forget. Welcome. And anyone returning, hi. Okay, I just want to double check something. Okay. So you received 11 cards that popped out for September. It's Virgo season. It's very analytical. It's about organizing. It's about compiling. It's about figuring out what you're going to do over the winter or what you're going to do over the next following season, if you will. Preparation. So 11 cards. Okay. Let's do this spread I used to do last autumn. Actually, probably around September, October. No, Zumi. Azumi, no, thank you. I don't need you to bark. All right. These cards, the two don't want to stay up. Okay, Leo. I see that, I see the situation as you, I heard being really headstrong, okay, like, there's a lot in here about communication, okay, mostly with others, about you, like about the reality is like, you're saying what it is that you need to say, which is actually really good because I feel like in a way, especially when I say feel, that's not that you don't have feelings, you have huge feelings, but saying how you feel when it's not pretty, when it's not fun, is challenging for you. It's actually maybe the most challenging for you because you're the sun, right? You represent your gold, you're like, you're yellow, you're the solar plex, fun, daytime. It's summer, right? Well, for those closer to the Arctic, represents summer. Summertime, summer fun. But what about what happens when it's a summer bummer? Somebody somewhere is having a summer bummer. I don't see that it has to be you. I don't see it actually as you. If you okay, we've been talking about your boundaries and learning lessons the hard way for quite some time now, right? Right. So it's kind of like if you've been figuring that out and you're starting to function in a different vibration, a different frequency, but really do it because it doesn't happen just because you think about it, right? I mean, yes, that can be helpful for moving along, right? Figuring out emotionally, intellectually, etc. In a conscious way, okay? But the subconscious is always functioning underneath that consciousness, Okay, so if you've been putting in the work, I see that you can, at this point in time in September, start expressing yourself with appropriate boundaries. Okay, and in a way, for a lot of you, you know that you are able, capable, independent, right? At very least at this point. Abundant, creative. You probably like gardening or plants, right? Even if it's just one, you love it. Or maybe you like nature in some sort of way. But I specifically see like something that comes back year after year after year. You know, that's what you know is, you know, which can also represent that something's been the same for a really long time. A lot of you have been single for a really long time, or at very least have been working on your own independence. I don't think Leos necessarily have an issue of independence in their relationship, but you do have a hard time, in a way, not being involved with someone in some form or another, sexually, romantically, you know, somehow, some way. You know, the moon always needs the sun. It needs the sky. It needs the air, right? You need other things in a way. So there's something about that too. And I think how you're feeling right now, I see that there's some sort of emotional exchange that's happening. But the person that's on the receiving end is grateful but I heard now's not the time. There's still more work that you have to do within yourself. Okay? I see that this work see in August you had like there was a conversation in August. And I think that there's a Pisces full moon on the 26th, I believe. Depends where you are, of course. But unless there's two moons, like they say, and I had that dream about it, and I guess it's true. But that's another story. Two moons. I haven't dreamt about two suns, but then we have the sun simulator. Who knows? Anyway, Leo, the point is that this Pisces full moon can really help move along anything that you're healing. I've been telling this to everyone, but it's important, especially this, and this across the center of your reading in relation to the full moon. It's like, if you can communicate to God, whoever it is that you're dealing with, yourself, and whatever it is, put it out to the universe, put it out to people it's where the situation is very emotional, okay, and has been that way again for a long time, and you know what it is that you want to cut out, then I see that you will be victorious in that if you so do desire. But there's something about expectation that's a little bit big, that it's an expectation in others, okay? Like, if you expect someone else to do this, right, you're like, oh, do this, and then you'll have this. That isn't how it works. I mean, you're kind of telling yourself that, right, when you're trying to explain it to someone else. But I actually think with you, at least from what I've gathered, there's a part of it within the sign of Leo that is a little bit of a enabler, you know, and that's part of, I think, where the hard lessons come in, is you enable people to not have to grow because you don't make appropriate boundaries, and then because you come after Cancer as the mother and then the son, it's like, again, you just try to keep it light and fun, and like there's not really, you don't really have any problems, but apparently there's something that's still, you know, that bothers you. But this is the message from your light side, is that someone's not ready for a relationship yet because their friendships aren't that solid. Their fun in their life, in themselves, independently, as a person, is not solid yet. It's not complete. It's only a 5, okay, emotionally speaking. And I heard 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But you got to make sure that the 2 out of the 3 are things that are actually emotionally and energetically healthy for you. Right? I see that the reality of the situation also is a lot of you need to focus on your career or your creations in general, okay? It's not that love isn't important. It's not that you don't have friends. You always have friends, right? It's not that you're not traveling. I'm sure that you go places and, you know, communicate with people and, you know, you're not a chatty Cathy like a Sagittarius or whatever, but you definitely, or Gemini, you know, which both those signs are pretty chatty. That's why they rule communication, but you do like to chit chat, right? When you feel like talking. But I sense here that the it's so important for you to organize your energy, organize the direction of what you want. This card is actually a Sagittarius card. I think it's Mars and Sagittarius, don't quote me on that, but it is, to me, is about organization at this point, the way I'm seeing it. And again, Virgo season is about organizing yourself, okay? Because I see that you got to organize yourself, and then what happens after you organize yourself? Then you move along. Someone moves along, figures out the direction, right? And where are they heading? Well, they're heading towards the ultimate sword of truth, of integrity and victory. But you can only wield this sword when you're ready, emotionally. Because swords, in a way, this is like, you know, swords can be spiritual. I see that in a way, either you did this to, well, this is your reading, so you probably, you kind of poked a hole in someone's ego a little bit. Or again, you actually rule the ego, so this could have been a part of you, because it's not your element. It's more air, right? Because what's air and fire make? More fire. A big-ass fire. Unless the wind is so strong, then it puts the fire out. Right? I see that you'll get more of what you want, emotionally speaking, when you stop having a backup plan. Okay? When you start, it's like really committing to something. And I guess the folks that are older, you probably already get, like, you know, where time is, like, you know, you get to a point in your life where you're, like, you know, you're not 20-something or even early 30s, but you just, it depends who you are, of course, but you start grasping as you grow older that time is not, at least in this body, this vessel is limited, okay? Right? You only have so much time, and then, well, and you don't control time either. So in that, I guess that's why it's important to organize yourself and to decide what it is that you really want, what it is that's blocking you from getting what you want, you know. You know, because you kind of have the same fierce independence that a Aquarius has, right? Isn't that, and actually that's your opposite, so that completely makes sense, right? It's like I'm sure those of you who are married or what have you, I mean, you're probably still flirty, but that's not the point. This is showing me more of someone who, this reading is showing someone who isn't exactly completely committed to something yet. There's gestures of it, but there's emotional healing to be done, and you can't rush that. No one can rush this card. You know, you also have no major arcana on the board, so there's no road signs for you during this time. You have to trust yourself. Okay? It's like you just get in the car and you drive, and you got to know, you know, am I going north or south or east or west? Paying attention to what's around you, you know? Like if you went walking in the woods, well, you got to pay attention. You know, you don't just go running blindly into the woods and then expect to be able to get out of it. You know, you got to walk slowly, one step at a time, and then check out what's around you. Again, keep the focus of where it is that you're going direct, very direct, okay? Very clear, very concise. Keep it that way. Keep because I sense emotionally, this is the thing, it's like emotionally there's something that's sort of new, and then there's also something that's extremely old. And I sense for a lot of you, part of the thing that you need to walk away from is a relationship of the past specifically. All the signs are here, so either way. But it was someone that you knew for a really long time. I also see for some of you, just with this situation, if you are dealing, like, this is obviously you, but if you're dealing with another fiery kind of person, it's with everything in retrograde, some people are going over the past, okay? Again, like who they were with, plus Venus is going in retrograde too, which is never, PS, is never a good time to get in a relationship, so I've read. Specifically, no way during that time. Because what will happen is, whatever you think is successful at that time will end up being very challenging later on. Okay, it's like, because Venus rules beauty, so I think it starts going retrograde the end of the month, like maybe when Libra season starts, and then all through Libra season, and I think into mid-November. So anything, yeah, into Libra season for sure, and forward. But, you know, maybe that's part of it, is the reason why you're not for those of you who are not in a relationship or not feeling like you're that connected in some way or another, is because there's just things to be done independently, okay? We have to have, Scorpio season's coming. You have to have integrity. Libra season's coming. They're about integrity. You have to. You have to look at, yeah, these just popped out, okay? The Tower's not happening anymore, which is good, but whatever is still hurting, you know, someone still feels stuck, is the point. Yep. And so, and there's not really a winner that's coming out of this situation. So the advice is, for at least for now, and you already knew this in August anyway, but you probably knew in February, or the same thing's been happening since February, okay? But it's where you just need to keep working on what you're working on. I see that you, the first, one second. You need to work on what your drive is. Where does your drive come from? Where do you receive your source from? And understanding how sometimes your mind cuts out. The mind can open possibilities of understanding, of course, but the mind is, in a way, not intuition, okay? There's a big difference between here and here. That's why we do this one, right? We can't do it the other way. Just tap, tap, tap. I also see that some of you, because there's like this air trifecta over here. It's like the kind of communication that you have been having maybe like the last 3 months has been pretty intense, okay? The things that you've learned about, the truth that has come about, maybe the things that your dreams are telling you, and whatever has been happening in your physical life because of that day to day, okay? I do see a mild maturity, but it took a while for it to come, okay? And there's still something that just is so murky about it, okay? You just like, there's something that is not explained, and there's something that just you aren't supposed to know yet, and you're not supposed to pick or prod at it. You're just supposed to be doing you, working on your stuff, okay? Like I said before, well, you already know, but, you know, or at very least you're learning about it, like people's, I didn't actually see you making the friction during this month. Okay, last month I think, or the month before, yeah, the month before, I was like, if it's any stuff, it's your stuff, which in a way, one way, it is your stuff, because it's always our stuff, right? But in another way, it's like at this point, again, I just sense that you're starting to communicate more about, again, what are your boundaries, okay? Because sometimes you're the passive little lion, and sometimes you're the lion that realizes that it's in a cage and then it freaks out, okay? And there can be a better balance of that, okay? And not to be tricked into the cage either, whatever that means. The cage of your mind, the cage of your emotions don't feel good, you know, all that kind of jazz. Yeah, the mind is very important, okay? You want to keep it clear. What do you want? Okay? I see appreciation is the best ease. Gratitude is the best ease for any kind of irritation, you know? Let's read something. Hold on. You know, and remember, if someone's not giving you what you want, well, then you're either not asking for the right things in the right way, worded correctly, right? Mercury. Or you already got what you want, and that isn't really what you want, and then you need to assess why it is that you asked for what you want, okay? But I don't sense that you're dissatisfied. I just sense that you're figuring out, but that's just something for you to know, okay? Leo. Okay. It says, have you ever wondered how you managed to end up in such an odd family as yours? If you have ever lived your life as an outsider, as a slightly odd or different person, if you are a loner, one who lives at the edge of the mainstream, you have suffered. Yet there also comes a time to row away from all that and experience a different vantage point, to emigrate back to the land of one's own kind. Let there be no more suffering, no more attempting to figure where you went wrong. The mystery of why you were born to whomever you were born to is over. Terminado, finito, finished. Rest for a moment at the bow and refresh yourself in the wind coming from your homeland. Does a wolf know how beautiful they are when they leap? Does a feline know what beautiful shapes she makes when she sits? Is a bird awed by the sound it hears when it snaps open its wings? Learning from them, we just act in our own true way and do not draw back from or hide away our natural beauty. Like the creatures, we just are, and it is right. I love this book. Carlisa Estes. Yeah. You know, and the thing is I don't think you really, for most of you, I don't think you have an issue being yourself. But then I think that the self that is projected to the way other people view you is what you feel like you have to keep up with in a way, or it becomes habitual depending on what it is that you want. But I see that you're gaining a different like thought process about that completely, okay? And again, where any pain in your heart comes from. The reason why I'm making these videos a little early is so that, recording these a bit earlier, so that you can really take advantage of that Piscean moon. The moon card that rules Pisces, so they say. And Pisces is a very intense sign for the full moon to be in, okay? It's the 12th house. It's this house of self-undoing. Freeing yourself, having compassion, right? Because not being honest with yourself is still, that's still a lie. Being honest with yourself that you're not allowed to be a weirdo or different or expressive of how it is, again, that you feel, even if you don't feel good, and being expressive of boundaries and being okay with the fact that, like, that doesn't mean you're having any less fun. It actually is making your life more safe and stable, so that you, as you go along in life, you can actually say to yourself, you know, I am loved, I am safe, I am protected. You know, and really know that not just on the outside, but on the inside too. Okay? Therefore, we'll have better relationships with others, more honest, clear, you know, relationships with others that, yeah, that are honest, okay? Not dishonest. All right. Love you so much. Please take care of yourself. Don't worry. Peace.